Well, hi there, racing fans, and welcome to another edition of Winning Ways, where I'm trying to answer a few questions that I can't answer here. Laf is in fine form. I don't know, he must have had 5 winners over the weekend, the way he's going. But I can tell you, this could be quite a fun show, because there's a lot of excitement going on. Graham Hawkins is going to be chatting about a big race day at Scotsville in York Hall. We've given them another slot on Winning Ways, the Gold Circle Mob. Nice for them, isn't it?
Nice for them. They're going to talk about the need for speed, the great racing for Group 1s. Him and Andrew Harrison are going to go through that for York Hall.
Okay, now...
Football. Arsenal, 2 gone.
You get rewarded for mediocrity. The way they played from January till March, they deserve to go down. In fact, I would say that I'd rather keep Sunderland up and let them go down. At least Sunderland have a go.
James, it's a lot of fun in that lower league. You and Everton can have a bit of fun. And the boys...
We beat Manchester United. I see they're not chirping too much as Manchester United boys. They didn't finish above us in the league.
No, you finished above them again.
And I think that they owe a few pounds, but they never pay. They're serial non-payers. Yeah. I'll tell you, there are a couple of boys there that are serial non-players. Big fat Oaks mainly.
Yeah, they all owe you money.
Yeah, Oaks are auctioneers. You know those auctioneers?
They owe you money.
Yeah. From last year still.
Claim double.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pleased that you're claiming money, and when you don't qualify, it just shows how bad their team must be.
Yeah, they're useless.
They're useless. Yeah, but anyway, Chelsea champions, Spurs runner-up, Man City, and then Liverpool. They're the top 4. They're going through. Rugby, James, let's change tack for a moment. I want to get your early thoughts on this, so the public just listening to half-wit Higgins here. Who is going to win, the Lions or the All Blacks in this Lions tour down under?
I think the All Blacks will beat the Lions, but it will be very good. It will be great rugby.
There's 3 tests, and then they're playing all the major teams.
Yeah.
With probably their dirt tracker team. How will the dirt tracker team go against you?
No chance. The major teams are too good.
Are they going to get wiped out down there?
All Blacks are too good. There's only one team in the world that can beat the All Blacks.
Who's that?
The Lions.
That's what I'm talking about.
Not the British Lions, you air. The Joburg Lions, you know, the Leos. They're the only guys that can beat them. Everyone thinks I'm delusional. Have you watched
they won't win the Super 15.
Well, if they get the final, if they get it right, and we can get the Crusaders beaten, the Lions will win the Super 15.
Yo.
Now the Crusaders have got to get beaten because the Crusaders are going to get the home final. We will get to the final. The Lions will get to the final.
I hope you're right, but I think it's a tough call.
Yeah, the Sharks looked as usual pretty moderate. But more importantly, I've been watching the IPL, and it fascinates me, this cricket, because what amazes me is that you can defend a total of 130, okay, by bowling properly.
Yes.
And they bowled in the block hole. They bowled very, very well. They can't defend totals of 170 and 180 in the lead-up games. And you see these games.
What was the top luck?
A perfect pitch, no problem for batting, but if you bowl in the block hole, it's very hard to get the ball away. In fact, Smith hit a wonderful 4 through the covers. Off the back foot, the ball, Malinga bowled it in the block hole. It looked like kept him in the game. But it was a fascinating game.
How many teams left there?
They finished. It was the final.
So none left.
Yeah, the Mumbai Indians won. So congratulations to Jonty Rhodes and the boys.
Any South Africans apart from Jonty?
No, but Jonty and that guy Eric Simons. I think he's in the coaching staff as well.
That's right. Bowler.
Yeah, well done to those boys.
Okay.
And as far as the cricket's concerned, we've got big cricket coming up in England. And I think this is a very good.
How do you think we'll go?
I think this is a very good Proteas team.
Record this. Okay.
Can we go on and have a look at 3 to follow, which very interesting, because I got to mention. Right, well, let's kick off with the first one of 3 to follow. We go to Greyville Friday night, all KwaZulu-Natal racing, because that's where the best racing is at the moment, and they're stepping out all the good ones. Let's go and have a look. Greyville, Polly, Champenois. This is one of Charles Laird's and certainly ran a cracking race.
Yeah, very nice horse. This just Arthur's riding it. It's debut run. It's quite a competitive field, and it's just sluggish. Unlike Arthur, who likes to be in the vanguard, this horse doesn't get away as quickly as he would like it to, and the owners would like it to. But he's way back here.
Yeah, sort of to middle towards the back of the field. But the horse that's second on the paint, absolutely perfectly placed by Anthony Delpeche for Natty Cotson's first winner, his first winner. Congratulations to him. And stuck in behind at one off the fence is Champenois. But Champenois has to go in, turning into the straight, and I think that might have just cost her at least. There was money support for her, obviously got ability. She's now 3 or 4 lengths off the winner. The winner in the Mary Slack colours, black with the red cap, Luna Child.
Yeah, that's the winner, Luna Child.
Yeah.
For Glenn Cotson.
Oh, for Glenn, sorry, it was for Glenn. Sorry, it was for Natty. Yeah, Natty had his first runner on the day.
That's right. And hits a frontier, and still there's not much room for Champenois, who's Arthur's just looking for a run. And I thought this horse would be hard to beat, Luna Child. It looked the right horse in this field. Gets given a good ride by Delpeche, who's red hot form, 10 winners in a week. And it's battling to win it. And have a look at Champenois now. This really quickens up.
Well, the first two had form, or the first two at this stage. Believe This Beauty had very nice form. Luna Child goes on to win it, and Champenois comes running very strongly at the death. Very good run.
Summerhill bred Visionaire.
Very nice filly, and we hope that goes on and does something for them. The next one is we go to Scotsville, 20th of May. Second race, Alistair Gordon stepped out another in the same colours. Nice to see that he's getting some support from the Maritzfontein and Wilgerbosdrift. Monkshood, very nice winner, won easily.
Yeah, the talk was about that this was a very good horse by Karari, and we thought, sure, let's see how good it is. And soon at the race, it shows that it's alert early. And I thought this was quite a competitive field. I thought the Kotson runner had a chance, and there were some nice young horses in the race. But this wins the street, James.
Wins the street. I'm very interested in the horse one off the outside, a horse by a philanthropist called Tom Collins. Dennis Dreyer trains him for the Fullard Drew partnership. And there's a big, leggy philanthropist. They tell me it's very difficult as a 2-year-old to break in and that get him going. He pulls a stick through to his right, and he's there in the vanguard, and he might improve quite a lot, this horse, Tom Collins.
Yeah, very nice horse. I had a look at him in the ring. He really is a smart-looking horse, but the winner could be anything. This horse really gets going, and here, everything's under the cosh to try and get into the race, and I really thought this horse didn't realise it was this good, but I know it's going to take a good one to beat this, James. 7.5 lengths.
Yeah, how's his pedigree there?
He's Karari, you said that's Karari, he was bred by the Bothers.
By the Bothers, yeah. They must have bought the mare in foal to him, and then for stud. But the second horse ran a good race. You have a close look at that next time.
Yeah, I agree. Good, Davey. Now the third one, Jim, was your little horse. Now, we've got to let people know this was a very good performance by a debutant against winners, 14, soft track. But I've always thought Magog can throw you a good horse. Looks like he's thrown you one.
Well, it's amazing because you put these horses in. He was running in the 1200. It's quite a funny story. He was running in the 1200, and there was a reserve, which was Tom Collins. Was the reserve runner.
Yeah.
So I had him in the 14 as well. So I said to Scratchings, look, run him in the 14. He's going to need the run. He's a big leggy bugger, and he's done. I mean, he hasn't had a gallop. He's gone through the pens.
So why is it a funny story? You said
it's
a funny story.
Because I changed it from the 1200 to the 1400. He probably wouldn't have won the 1200. Okay, Monkshood's race. Okay, this horse race that we've shown. So Dennis got a run, so he ended up running.
You're looking after your mate.
Yeah, well, he owes me.
He owes you. Dennis,
don't worry, I told him too. Yeah.
But Jim, let's get back to this race. I think the tactics were very good by De Mello. I thought it was very clever to drop in and let us see everything in front of it. I thought.
Well, his instructions were, I liked the horse to have a look at what the race course is all about. So I said to him, you're drawn wide, tuck him in, and going through the 300, pick him up and let him run on, you see? And what do you expect, And I said, ride him to the finish. Wherever he finishes, we'll be happy. And I expected 4th, maybe 5th, run past a few, but there were 4 quite hot juveniles in the race that had won. So the way this horse won, there might easily be something.
You bred it, you own it, Have you sold it?
No, I didn't breed it. Scotty bred it. Scott Brothers bred it.
Okay.
Yeah, I bought it.
Scott
I
Brothers,
bought it
yes.
at the Natal sale.
Yeah, other horse today.
I've been obviously I didn't sleep very well on Saturday night, and so I went through the program and that. And there's a very nice Natal Breeders race on July Day, which
right.
I think that you probably end up
That's
running
it.
it. Yeah. Okay,
Let's have a look
show.
at the race.
Let's show.
Here it is on the outside, as you said, the Dazzler runs in Jimbo's colours, and they'll jump soon. And there it is, one off the outside, and Keegan Novella realises he's got to cover this horse up, and he does a very good job, because I thought there were some really nice horses in this race, John. I keep using the word nice, I must get rid of that word. Some really talented horses in here. I thought the Vaughan's horse who's out on the lead for the Sugalums, and I really liked the debutant, the winning runner, that Philanthropist of Cotson's. But your horse, superb, James.
Not in the picture, he's wide at this stage. Interestingly, it was my father's 94th birthday on Saturday. Okay.
Fantastic.
Same day as this. And those were his father's colours. And I think they were registered in the Jockey Club in about 1926 or something.
Yeah.
And we've had them in the family ever since. So there's a first runner for quite some time in the colours. And here he's at the back, and he's raced wide the whole way.
Yeah, it looks like he's not
Got
got
no
trouble there,
chance.
James. There's 2 unbeaten horses in the race, never mind the other winners. It
Yeah.
was just a really, I thought, a smart field. And here, just watching him, Keegan's given him a completely clear ride, a clear run, and he quickens up really smartly here. At this stage, you must have thought, I can burgle fourth.
Exactly. And you know, the point is that no stick, he hasn't hit him, he's just given him hands and heels ride, head twisted, as the commentator said. But he ran past him. You've got to have some ability. So hopefully this could be another Cato Court. That's how he won first time out.
Okay,
So-
I remember that. That
We
was
got
for Terry Payne and
Yeah,
fans.
Terry Payne and Graham Hawkins.
Yeah.
But so let's hope. We're going to take a break and give you a chance to get your breath back. There we go. Let's go and have a look at what shouldn't happen. There's some clips here that really shouldn't happen in horse racing, should they?
Yeah, James, just before we go to the clip, there were a few incidents this week. I watched a horse in England run across, go straight through without the rider, go straight through the fence to a horse that was on the other side of the track on the grass, straight into it, hit the rider off, and the 2 of them went down the track by themselves. It's happening all over the place.
Good way to get rid of the rider. Get your mate calls you over and says, listen, take this out. He's giving me a hard time.
Yeah, there's been some amusing incidents, but let's have a look at this.
But this is quite amusing, so let's go and have a look and see what it shows.
Did that win the race?
I don't know what happened with that one. You know, there
Didn't
must
win.
be something carried on after that.
Yeah,
but you
It
know,
didn't win a race.
it's certainly had a few guys on it. But we see horses like
I
that
do
often.
know that when you're a starter or a handler, running across a loose horse with your flag or with that, dangerous.
Well, you know, talking about that, Wayne Lucas's son,
Yes.
okay, but ran in front of a horse that was loose.
Lady
Was it
Secret.
Derby horse or what?
Lady Secret.
Lady Secret was
I
a Derby horse.
I was
And-
working in America.
and it flattened him.
Yeah.
And he was never the same
Never the
after
same
that,
after
which
it,
was
yeah.
terrible. So, you know, and obviously she was very, very valuable. They knew she was good, so he's trying to stop her.
Yeah.
But horses sometimes don't stop. We see
They
that in
don't stop,
Summerfeld.
no.
Mace's horses at Summerfeld, they don't stop for anything, those horses.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that just shouldn't happen, James.
Yeah, well, it shouldn't happen, but it does, and there's some funny things that happen. We've got some funny clips following through, so this is our new spot. We're going to go and have a look at the plum of the week.
Good lead by 3 or 4. Blazing Winter's trying to close it down. The Captain's Mold, Singers King, Rehoboth Beach on the inside. Storm Ferry, but now Blazing Winter's starting to warm up. And Blazing Winter comes at Storm Ferry. Blazing Winter in a last lunge, going to get there. Blazing Winter won it. Storm Ferry second. Third Aqua Blue, and then Just Positive.
Well, if you had a look at the card on Wednesday and you saw Ferraris Ormond cruising down to KwaZulu-Natal with one runner, you had to have a close look. Delpeche took the ride on it, and what happened? It's come down from a merit rating of 83 to 65. Okay, in six or seven runs, found everything in its favour. And you had to back it, and you could have got 5-1 about this horse on Interbet. 5-1 about an Ormond Ferraris Raider that came to KwaZulu-Natal. Look, I got a cracker from Delpeche, obviously primed for the race.
Yes.
And looked like the right horse, and ended up starting.
But for a 3-year-old, it's an amazing drop in merit rating, James.
Amazing. And the horse hadn't run that badly. In fact, he'd run like a length off them 2 runs ago. And they kept getting dropped, you know. So it just highlights the situation as far as punters are concerned. If you're a gambler, you want to go and have a look at your form and study your form, because this really gave you the opportunity to find a winner that looked like the business. There were a whole lot of others on the week, but this looked like one at a very big price that you should have definitely had a tickle on. Right, we're going to move on and have a look at current affairs.
Best race time odds, transparency of betting markets, friendly and super efficient staff, the ability to negotiate odds, a full service tote with no limits, which is very important for exotic players, loyalty program, speedy withdrawal of funds, full odds, multiple betting, and excellent in-play markets. These are just some of the many reasons that come to mind as to why I believe, as a serious punter, there is no online operator in South Africa that can realistically come close to matching what Interbet has to offer. Put simply, there's no other site like it, and the ability to negotiate odds adds to my fun and enjoyment. Interbet, where the professionals bet.
An unmissable bloodstock opportunity where the world's most influential bloodlines attract a global audience for the Southern Hemisphere's #1 breeding stock sale, the Magic Millions National, offering the finest lineup of weanlings, yearlings, broodmares, race fillies and racehorses. It's the must-attend bloodstock event of the year.
This is a blitz. It's a wing splits.
Experience the magic of the Magic Millions National. Learn more at magicmillions.com.au.
Right, welcome to another edition of Current Affairs. We've got 2 feature races that were raced in our country, and one was down here on Friday night, the Betting World 1900, always a great pointer to the Vodacom Durban July. And then we had a grade 3 run down in Cape Town as well, Jim. There are a few listed races around the country, James, but 2 stakes races.
Yeah, it was very interesting to watch what happened in the Betting World 1900, because Duncan Howells also ran a cracking good race in the July last year. He was friendless in the betting, 35-1. And he won, not like a 35-1 shot, he won very, very nicely.
To his credit, he's always been a finer horse when there's cut in the ground, James.
Yeah.
And we obviously moved a few horses from grass onto poly to protect it, because we've got the big winter season.
Yeah.
And I saw it cut up a little bit. I went and had a look afterwards. And this horse really won very well.
Yeah, I thought he won a tremendous race. The Tilbury Fort ran much better. He ran a shocking race in the Classic. That was a much better run. Elusive Silver
didn't run badly, but
bad.
it just makes it a tough task now to get into Vodacom Durban. They might have to find another spot for it, because it's a beautiful horse and maybe second run back, but he's very talented. Tilbury Fort ran off an 88 merit rating.
Yeah. Shall we go and have a look?
Yeah.
Let's go and pick them up at the 600.
They're about 9 or 10 lengths off the leader. They move to the 1100 metre region, and Sarissa's just the leader. Banner Hill's got the red cap. Go direct as the white blinkers. Near the rail we find Tilbury Ford. It's My Turn. Master Switch on the outside. Then comes Macduff and Rocket Ball. Further back Hayaku. Elusive Silver is fourth to last, giving them 8 or 9 lengths start. They're followed further back by 10 Gun Salute, Copper Pot and Mr. Winsome. Betting World 1900 about to be homeward bound. And Ceres is going to bring him into the stretch. Banner Hill, Tilbury Ford. Go direct, It's My Turn, Macduff. On the outside, Master Switch. Towards the outside, Rocket Ball, 10 Gun Salute makes a run. Elusive Silver needs some running room. 300 to go. 10 Gun Salute comes into the lead. 10 Gun Salute, Copper Pot. Down the inside, It's My Turn. Elusive Silver's trying to get into the race. 10 Gun Salute, Elusive Silver, Tilbury Ford. 10 Gun Salute continuing on though. And it's 10 Gun Salute and they're not going to get it. 10 Gun Salute has won. Second Tilbury Ford. Third to It's My Turn and then Mr. Winsome.
Well, there we go. Australian horse by Henry the Navigator. Always been talented, James.
Yeah, no doubt. And he's now booked his place in the July, and he really should shorten a bit on that. That was a convincing win. He came from wide and he came from nowhere to win the race.
If we get a sprinkling of rain too, it'll enhance his chances. And I thought the second, and I think we had Dead Eaters for third. They ran well. And it just means that people are trying to qualify their horses because we've got that log and there's a slew of them just waiting to try and get in. They're going to have to try and find their spots. But there's still 5-6 weeks until the Vodacom Derby in July.
Oh, yeah, there's time, but there's there's some big races here, 3-year-old races. They're going to give 3-year-olds a chance to prove themselves. The last horse I saw that didn't run very well in this race was Dunford, and when he ran fifth in this race and got in and won the July.
Yeah.
So
just getting back to Duncan Howes, he's doing a great job, and Mersey picked it up. Duncan could end up with 3 runners in the Vodacom Derby in July.
Yeah.
He had a Guineas runner-up who's a very nice horse who ran fourth in the Poly, might not have handled that. Then, of course, he's got last year's horse who ran fifth, a very good horse.
Saratoga Dancer.
Thank you. So he's in an enviable position.
Oh, good for him. Yeah,
Good
he
for
deserves
him.
it. He
Deserves
trains
it.
a
He
lot of
works
winners.
hard. Yeah, he
He's
works
got a
hard.
lot of good clients. We go on to the Winter Classic. It's a grade 3, and obviously this is one of those races for the Winter Triple Crown. 7 runners. Our mate Art looked like the business, and this was African Night Sky. Well, it was a race between the two. Should we have a look at them?
Yeah.
Of the deer. Then comes African Night Sky creeping closer. Turbulently on the inside, running well. Being followed further back by Load Shedder and Elevated the last to swing as they straighten up in the Highland Stud Winter Classic with 500 metres left to go. Ollivander is in front, leads the way along the inside. It's Vidia. Our mate Artist in the middle, and African Night Sky is being settled out deeper out as they enter the final 300 in front. It's Ollivander. Our mate Art and African Night Sky is in full cry up the outside, and he's starting to bridge the gap quickly into the closing stages. African Night Sky puts his head in front. He takes the lead from our mate Artist, trying to come on the inside, but African Night Sky makes it 2 from 2 in the series. African Night Sky wins it from our mate Art. Load Shedder, Ollivander, Turbulent Tervidia.
Well, Highland Stud bred this dynasty, and he had to go hard to beat the Australian horse, but he's progressive horse, James.
Absolutely. He was a 850,000 rand buy, and the Highlands sponsored the race, so nice for them to breed the winner. Fred Krabbier.
Justin Snaith.
Have a look at what else we got. Preakness obviously was the big racing over the weekend in America, and a horse that they decided not to run in the Kentucky Derby. That was very unusual. Cloud Computing, because they didn't have him quite right. He'd got beaten in the Wood Memorial.
Yeah.
He had the points to get him, but Chad Brown decided, no, we're going to go for the Preakness. It's amazing because the Derby winner, Fletcher's had a couple of these before. They win, they can't win 2 weeks later. He needs 4 or 5 weeks between races.
Yeah, it's a tough call. You go to Maryland to Pimlico. It's always tough going through them. We're off to Belmont for the last leg over further. But I don't know the stallion, James. Tell me about the stallion.
Cloud Computing. He's by McLean's Music, who's really...
Speed horse.
He's a speed horse, and he's out of an AP Indy mare. But this horse, Cloud Computing, go and look on the TDN. He's one of the most beautiful horses you've ever seen in your life. Big, dark horse, beautiful face. And he beat Classic Empire, who was obviously, the right horse on the Derby run, because he ended up getting into all types of trouble apart from the winner. And they went on a speed duel, Classic Empire and the horse that won the Derby, Pletcher's horse. No chance with this horse.
Javier Castellano.
Javier Castellano. He won the Preakness on Bernardini. It's the only other time he's won a Classic. So he took the ride. He got off a horse that ran 4th or 5th in the Derby to take this ride, because Chad Brown's his man. But this guy set the world alike, Chad Brown. He's pretty good.
James, I wanted to ask you about the Hugh Morrison story. What do you know about that?
Apparently he was caught for an anabolic positive, for a horse that finished at the back of a field in a minor racetrack. And it was on the road. It was one of those horses that had been out there traveling around trying to get a win under its belt. They came in and then tested all 77 horses in his yard, all negative. Now that doesn't sound right. If a guy's using anabolic, he's not using it on a one.
That's taboo, anabolic steroids.
Absolutely.
Completely
So,
worldwide now.
It needs a lot of investigation, I would have thought.
Would they take his license away?
They're talking about suspending the guy. And, Hugh Morrison, he's one of those people that's quite controversial, but he's got good ideas and he's a good man in the business.
Well, he's got all these horses,
but when you test all 77 others and they all come up negative, that doesn't
strange.
Seem right.
Strange.
Certainly when you got a bad one.
So it's a bit of watch the space, is it?
Talk about England. There's the Smart Call ran a great race on.
Good to see that. Yeah.
At York.
Very good. Very good.
Only at the death did she get going, but she beat a filly that won the Breeders' Cup Classic. So that was very good run.
That's
Churchill.
Very good news.
We talked about him last week. He's
Irish
unlikely to run in the Derby. They say he's going for the Irish 2,000 guineas.
Yeah. Well, they really have some very good horses. What about the 45-mile-per-hour horse there? What is the story?
Caravaggio.
I've never heard of this before.
Well, this horse was clocked at 45 miles an hour, Caravaggio. He's a scat daddy with O'Brien, and they say he's the fastest horse in the world. And he came out and won a Group 3 in an absolute cant. He hasn't run for a year. And what was interesting is they say now these horses that are sprinters aren't going for the classics anymore. They've set up a speed race program for them so that they run in speed races. So this horse in the old days would have gone for one of the Guineases and wouldn't have stayed the distance and would have got beaten. But now they're putting them in sprint races, so they've got that worked out.
Gee, 45, is that right? Kilometres or miles?
45 miles an hour.
The only way I could get a horse to go 45 miles an hour is throw it over a cliff.
No, if you raced it with your Ford Bucky, like
put it in the Bucky, sure. So that's a quick horse. Anything else, James?
Japanese Oaks won by Soul Stirring, the Frankel out of Stacey. She was a great race mare herself by Monson, and it's his 8th stakes winner, and she's won 2 Group 1s for him now. So she's quite good, this filly Soul Stirring, which is very good.
Good news, yeah.
And that's about a world approval. Half-brother to Amir's approval won a Group 2 and was a Group 1 winner last year. We're going to take a break and we'll be back with Graham Hawkins. Well, as you know, Saturday's the big day at Scotsville. They start with Golden Horse Casino Sprint, and there's all types of big sprints. And it's a great day's racing, speed racing at Scotsville.
Yeah, absolutely. Alan Robertson, Gold Medallion, Phillies Sprint. Fantastic racing, and seeing the fastest horses in the country. I think it'll be loaded up with Trippies, Captain L's, Vars. Yeah, your speed stallions will be well represented. And they always are, and they invariably come back with the goods. So I really enjoy this day's racing.
It's a great day's racing. Don't miss it. Graham Hawkins is going to preview it once the final fields are out, which will be any moment now.
Welcome back for the Your Call section of today's Winning Ways show, and the fields for the jackpot of Grade 1 sprints to take place at Scotsville Racecourse this coming Saturday, the 27th of May, were declared today, and we're going to go through them quickly. I'll be joined in a moment by Andrew Harrison, but first let's give you the field for the first leg of the jackpot of the Grade 1 sprints. That's the Alan Robertson Fillies Championship for 2-year-olds over 1,200 metres. So let's go straight into the runners for this race, which kicks off that jackpot, as I mentioned. It's for 750,000 rands. And there, number 1, Brave Mary from the Paul Matchett yard. 2 is Called to Account. 3, Crimea River, impressive debut winner. 4, Daring Diva, one of 2 3-time winners in the race. Number 5 is Gold Image. Number 6, Great Aim. Number 7, Green Plains, the nursery winner, representing the powerful combination of Sean Terry and Samanga Kumalo, and is also a 3-time winner already. Supplemented for the race was number 8, Light on Her Toes from the Lizanne Forbes yard. Then the very promising number 9, Neptune's Reign from Duncan House's yard. Number 10, Princess Peach. Number 11, Touch of Magic, the imported filly, was such a impressive debut winner and hasn't been seen out since. She could be anything, but Paul Lafferty is very bullish about her chances. Number 12, 12 Oaks, 2-time winning daughter of Pathfork. Number 13, Under the Stars. 14, Victory Trip. And 15 is Zarnitsa. So there's your field of 15 for the first leg of the Grade 1 jackpot races, the Alan Robertson Memorial. And joining me as promised is Andrew Harrison, Head of Publishing here at Gold Circle and also Chief Editor of the Parade magazine. As usual, a very competitive lineup.
Graham, yes, it's always a good race. This it really sets the field up, sets the 2-year-olds up for Champions season and also for the Equus Awards.
Now, we've seen the nursery, the fillies nursery, and we've got the winner and the runner-up here. Both of them, the 2 3-time winners in the race. Green Plains, should you confirm that for?
I think she'll probably start favourite. Her last 2 wins were very impressive. The nursery win was excellent. She came away from them and just left them standing. I mean, Daring Diva is very quick, couldn't go with her, finished 3rd. So, yeah, I think she'll start favourite. But there are a couple of horses, local horses. I think Paul Lafferty, as you said, has got 2 nice horses in Crimea River and Touch of Magic. Touch of Magic, I know Paul's been singing her praises for a long time. And Duncan's quite bullish about Neptune's Reign. He couldn't understand how she got beaten when she did get beat. And she's been working well. I actually saw her work this morning.
Well, I think she beat a very decent sort when winning this Strelitzia, beating Maid in Hollywood, who came to town from Cape Town with a very big reputation. So lots to like about that victory. And a notable absentee here is Maid in Hollywood.
Yes. Yeah, so I think it'll be a cracking good race. Yeah.
You know, with these sprint races, the jackpot of Grade 1 sprints, which we feature annually at Scotsville on traditionally the last Saturday of May. I know there was a slight rearranging of those fixtures last year when it took place on the first Saturday of June. But this day has deservedly so developed a reputation for being a breeding industry shaping day. We've seen stallions come out of this day, top quality broodmares come out of this day, right across the range, from the 2-year-old fillies race to the 2-year-old colts race, and then of course the open races.
I think, Scotsville's an underrated track. I know it has its critics, but it's a tricky sort of a track, and you look at all the stallions that have, especially Jetmaster was unbeatable at Scotsville. The Claverfly horses is Warm White Knight, Seventh Rock, they all won their Group 1.
Delaga Deluxe, one is a 2-year-old and is a 3-year-old, is now taken up stud duties.
They all won
Australia.
at Scotsville. Yeah.
And the latest, of course, in that series is Captain of All.
That's right.
Who won? I think he reserved his best form for Scotsville and is now taken up stud duties at Claverfly. So that's the fillies race. It promises to be, as always, very competitive. Quite a lot of intrigue, especially when it comes to trying to assess those debut winners who haven't been seen out since. But the established form lies with Green Plains, very facile winner of the fillies nursery at Turfentine on Champions Day. So what about the Tsogasan Gold Medallion, also for 750,000 over 1,200 metres? We've had 12 acceptors for the race, so let's quickly introduce you to the final field for this well-established Group 1 event. Number 1, El Mariachi from the Brett Crawford stable with Corne Orfer on board. Number 2 is Arianos Bag of Gold, who's won its last 2 starts. Number 3, Autumn in Seattle, won its first 2 starts. Number 4, Keenan's Rock, is indeed by Seventh Rock, who won this race as a juvenile. Impressive debut winner. Probably the horse to beat, but we'll hear from Andrew in a moment, is number 5, Nafa, who ran second in the nursery Group 1 at Turfentine on Champions Day. Handsomely beaten, but beaten by stable companion Mustaqim, who carries a very high reputation, and possibly Nafa brings the best form into the race. Number 6 is Procol Harum. Number 7, Sand and Sea. This could be anything. Very impressive son of Twice Over. Was all at sea when winning on his debut, and has plenty of scope for improvement. Number 8, Sir Frenchie from the Justin Snaith Yard. Number 9 is Sniper Shot, and he's won his last 2 starts. Number 10, Varello, who won his first 2 before running third to Wal J. Reen, who he meets again in this field. Number 11, Warriors Rest. And number 12, Wal J. Reen from the Vaughan Marshall stable, and he's deadly with his 2-year-olds. So Andrew, 12 runners go to post, so it should be a good, clean race. Hopefully the draw will not be too much of a factor, but certainly looking at the recent runs at Scotsville, they've been winning down the centre towards the outside and down the inside. But I suppose you could expect the speed down to be down towards the inside. Nafa, is he the one to beat?
Nafa, I think he is the one to beat, because he was well clear in second place when in the nursery behind Mustaqim, and he gave the impression that Scottsville will be right up his alley. I think Scottsville is quite a tricky uphill, and he'll be running at them strongly. I think he's the horse to beat, definitely.
What do you make the principle? I know we've only had a short while to have a look at the runners, which were declared just a few moments ago. And obviously the form studying will take place over the whole week. And we've got understarters orders coming to us live from Scottsville Racecourse at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. So you haven't had that much opportunity to really get into the form. But at first glance, what strikes you as being the principal threats to Nafa?
I think outside of Nafa, you're starting to look a little bit thin as far, well, difficult, not thin. But I like that horse Sand and Sea from Dennis Dreyer. I know the word was out at Scottsville when he ran first time out. He's a really magnificent specimen. And he was all over the racecourse. He never ran straight for one stride. And I thought halfway, I thought, well, they must be smoking something. This can never win. And Antoine got him up. And he was drawn supposedly on the outside. So I think with that run, he'll improve a lot. He might be the danger.
Certainly an interesting runner, because he comes from the first crop of Twice Over. Of course, he's one of the best performed stallions to ever come to South Africa. The trainers seem to like them. You can always tell when you're attending the sales, the word on the ground is that the Twice Overs, lots to like about them. And as you say, this son of Twice Over, who's probably bred to be more effective over more ground and needed the run, has the ability possibly to come on lengths.
Well, he's a magnificent specimen of a racehorse, and all the good ones show a bit of speed. So if he can win this and carry on, then he'll be a serious horse.
Well, so at first glance, the Tsogasan Gold Medallion may be fought out by an inmate of the Mike de Kock stable, with most to fear from that from the Dennis Dreyer yard. But of course, it's always more tricky than that, with 2-year-olds improving at such a rapid rate at this time of the year. So we'll move away from the 2-year-olds, the Alan Robertson and the Tsogasan Gold Medallion, and focus on the older sprinters as we come to the third leg of our jackpot of Grade 1 sprints. And this is the South African Filly Sprint, Grade 1 over 1,200 metres for R750,000. And we've got 12 runners set to line up, including last year's winner, number 4, Real Princess. So let's have a look. This field is absolutely packed with class. Unexposed sprint form with lots of quality, and of course Carry On Alice. So let's have a look at the runners now. There we go. Carry On Alice. Sean Tarry, Samanga Kamalo, once again, as Sean Tarry chases that magical R30 million mark. She's rated to win this race. She's got the best sprint form coming into the race, but she does come up against some interesting contenders. Number 2, Bella Bella, is just that. She's a multiple Grade 1 winner. This is obviously to start her serious assault in some feature races later on in the season, but you can never underestimate quality. And Bella Bella may just be turning it on dramatically inside the final 200 metres. Joe's Bond is very, very useful, and possibly has a bit to find with Carry On Alice, and the ratings would suggest so, but she was an impressive course winner. Last year's winner, Real Princess, has been struggling since, but who knows? She might suddenly bounce back here. Then we move on to Elusive Enchantment. She was thrown in the deep end last time in the computer form sprint, much better suited here. Joan Ranger is as honest as they come, but not well treated at the weights. Number 7, Miss Valicious, ditto. But how about number 8, Just Sensual, with a rating of 109 and one that may still be a mark that she can improve on. She gets fitted with the blinkers to sharpen her up, and she's clearly very, very good. 9, Live Life, changed ownership recently. She was a very expensive yearling filly. She has super form, represents the 3-year-olds in the race. Number 10, The Secret Is Out, is also obviously very exciting. She won the Group 1 Alan Robertson as a 2-year-old and bounced back to winning form at this course last time out. 11, Sail, who knows, she might be better over 1,200 metres than further. And then Vision to Kill, she ran out of her skin last time out to get within a half a length of The Secret Is Out. So once again, a field packed with quality, Andrew. Sclearly the form book says Carry On Alice should win this.
What worries me about Carry On Alice, I think she's been beaten here once before. I don't think she quite sees out the Scotsville 6 furlongs, which might be an Achilles heel, especially because this is always one of the races of the season, because it attracts such a high-class field. And she's rated to win it, but I think there might be a few spooks in here.
So your early gut feeling is, guys, look a little beyond her, go a little bit wider, because generally on this day, the exotics can return handsomely.
They can, because you get a horse like Carry On Alice who looks pretty much a certainty at the weights, and something just goes wrong, and that starts to pay. So you look for something else that would beat her. I wouldn't bank her in anything, if you put it that way.
Well, we spoke about breed-shaping races, and I suggest if you're at the track, whatever your fancy, whatever the outcome might be, go and see them in the parade ring, because to have a look at Carry On Alice and Bella Bella and Just Sensual and Real Princess and Live Life and The Secret Is Out, you're not going to find better fillies assembled in one parade ring than on Saturday, this Saturday, the 27th of May. It should be an absolute cracker. The pace, no doubt, will have a say in the outcome, because over the last 200 metres, if Andrew is right, and Carry On Alice is basking for air, then of course the whole result might change inside the last 100 metres. The headliner is, of course, the 1 million rand Tsogasan Sprint. It's over 1,200 metres. It is a handicap, so unlike the first 3 legs of this jackpot of Grade 1 sprints, which are all run either at set weights or at weight for age terms, we end up with the handicap. And the defending champion, number 1, Talk to the Stars, who ran an absolute cracker in the computer form sprint, is back in town to defend his crown, this time with Chase Morjan up. Last time out, last year, this time, Pierre Stradham rode him to victory, but he sides with Brutal Force. So there you have it. Number 1, Talk to the Stars, carrying 60. Brutal Force carrying 59.5. London Call has been a revelation this year, unbeaten this season in 4 starts. He carries 59. 4 is Bull Valley. Once again, Sean Terry and Simango Kumalo. And he comes in with pretty decent form as well. Stable companion is number 5, Bulleting Home. Number 6, Sergeant Hardy, who is a very impressive young sort. Number 7, Gulf Storm. Number 8 is Muscat. And as we go over the page to number 9, that'll be Search Party. He won a big one during the Cape season. Number 10, Barboza. Hard-knocking sort who's course and distance suited. 11 is Captain's Causeway. Now, number 12 is Attenborough. And Anton Marcus has got to get down to 55 to ride this one, so he's going to be spending some time in the sweatbox, that's for certain. And if he makes that weight, well, that will be a very clear indication that he's very bullish about his chances. Another very exciting young horse is Table Bay. Anthony Delpeche teams up with Joey Ramsden, who seems to have a very strong hand here. 14 is Captain Swarovski. Now for another very interesting runner, the Dual Guineas winner. Number 15, Janubi, steps down in trip. Craig Zaki takes over from Callan Murray and Pierre Stradham, and Mike de Kock is the trainer. And 16, completing the lineup, is Accelero from the Vaughan Marshall Yard, but we do have a couple of reserve runners. There are 17, Night Trip, and 18, Move Feed. Now, Andrew, once again, it's a quality-packed field, but this time, of course, it's a handicap. So they're not expected necessarily that the top-rated horse will win. That's the nature of a handicap. Again, I go back to the comments I made earlier that you haven't had really much time to have a look at the form. But what stands out for you in your first look?
Actually, nothing. I think this is a really tricky race. I've noticed in past years, it's either the top weight or the ones at the bottom. The ones in the middle don't seem to feature very much. I mean, I talked to the Stars one with, I think, one with 60 top weight when he won. He was running on really strongly that last race. So if he's back to his best form, and Scotsville will be in prime condition for him now with all that rain that we've had, so that the going will be good. Janubi, I think, is an interesting runner. He's only just gets a mile, so the Scotsville 1200 will suit him. Table Bay also, I see Joey's put the blinkers on. He's a nice horse, but I don't know, 10 furlongs maybe. This might be a bit short. Attenborough won very well. Everybody said, I can't win from that draw. He was drawn 16 out of 16. I think he's drawn 14 again, but Anton will know exactly what's going on.
So Joey Ramsden has a very strong hand with a couple of young horses, but he's also got, of course, his grand old campaigner, Brutal Force, who receives a half a kilogram from Talk to the Stars. Interesting, Pierre Stradham won this race last year on Talk to the Stars, now rides Brutal Force. You'll know exactly what Talk to the Stars is up to. Brutal Force is drawn alongside of Talk to the Stars and London Call. That's where the early speed is likely to be. Do you give him a big chance despite the weight?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think he's suited to Scotsville. He had a chance when he was younger. I know Joey went off his head. He said he was drawn on the wrong side of the course. That we got him beat. But I think he's up against it with that weight.
Okay, so there you have it. Some early pearls of wisdom coming through from Andrew Harrison regarding the outcome, the possible outcome of the Tsogasan Sprint. They're chasing R1 million over 1,200 metres. It is race 8 on the card, and it is the final leg of the jackpot of Grade 1 sprints. Now, the minor races for this big race day will only be finalised tomorrow, Tuesday. So we have the jackpot sorted out with the 4 Grade 1 sprints, but the minor races will only be finalised tomorrow, Tuesday. That's, of course, Tuesday, the 23rd of May. But included amongst those races is the 3rd round of the recently introduced Levelling the Playing Fields series. Now, this is an interesting concept, Andrew, because each trainer was invited to nominate one horse to run over 1,200 metres in round 1, 1,400 metres in round 2, 1,600 metres in round 3, and then the top 14 points earners go through to the final on Sunday, the 25th of June, to compete over 1,400 metres on KZN Breeders' Race Day. And of course, the novelty here is that the jockeys go into a hat and the rides are drawn for, and only the top 19 jockeys, because we've got 19 horses competing in the final round on Saturday, will go into the hat. But it's been quite novel, hasn't it?
I think it's been a great innovation. We're always looking for something to sort of perk the interest in racing again, and I think this is an excellent opportunity. I think some of the trainers were caught a bit short. They didn't really cotton onto the concept. I think next year it'll probably be even better.
There's no doubt that there will be a next year, because we've obviously learnt a few lessons. We've had a few horses fall by the wayside, because obviously we called for entries of versatility, soundness, etc. It was made very clear when we launched the concept that jockeys will be drawn for. That's why we're calling it Levelling the Playing Fields. Each stable only allowed to enter one horse to give the smaller yards a chance to compete with the bigger yards. And the outcome has been interesting. So let's catch up with the latest stats as we head into the 3rd round before deciding on the finals. And Billy Jacobson has grabbed the opportunity with both hands, Andrew. He won round 1, he won round 2, and has got a maximum of 40 points. And what's interesting here, of course, is that at the end of it all, the leading jockey, the leading owner of the leading horse, the leading trainer, and the leading breeder will each get a 50,000 Rand additional payday. Each of the rounds have been run for 100,000 Rand, the final for 200,000. So here's an example of being given an opportunity, him and Morne Vinar, who sits 3 points behind him, and grabbing it with with both hands.
If you're a trainer in KZN with a KZN bred horse, you're crazy not to enter it, because it's good money, and also it gives the lesser lights in the jockey room a chance. As you say, Billy Jacobson, he's won both, and it was interesting. He won on Puccini, and he had to ride for his life to win on Brave and Bold.
Well, that was interesting. So he won on Puccini and then Brave and Bold. We do have all 3 pages, but we're not going to go right through them all. So we're just going to focus on the leading page here. So after 2 rounds, Billy Jacobson has 40 points. Vinar has got 37. Kennedy 30. Van Rensburg 27. Jared Samuel 26. Craig Zaki 26. Keegan DeMello 24. And Benny Dean has also been given his opportunity in the series, and has got 22 points. Let's have another look at that same slide, if I may, just to catch up with the horses. So Brave and Bold and Puccini are the leading horses. And the leading horse ultimately, with the most points accumulated, will determine, of course, the leading owner and the leading breeder and the leading trainer, whereas the jockey accumulates his points slightly separately. Royal Agree, owned by Peter de Beer, has got 33, Reactive 32, the King of Random 27, Fire the Rocket 25, Kahala 24, and Poivre 24. So they're the leaders. You've got the trainers there, you've got the breeders, you've got the owners, and what will happen now is that there are still 2 heats in the third round on Saturday, over 1,600 meters. The 19 horses that are remaining in the series will compete in 2 legs. One will have 10 runners, one will have 9. The 19 top jockeys in the series will be drawn for their respective mounts, and then the top 14 left after round 3 will compete in the final for prize money of 200,000 over 1,400 meters at Greyville on the 25th of June. And then the overall winners, there's an additional 50,000 rand for the winning jockey, the winning trainer, the leading breeder, the leading owner, and of course that all adds up to a sum of R1 million, which was attached to this leveling the series, the playing field series. So that's just about it. We've run out of time, Andrew, but before you go, we've seen the Betting World 1900. We've had the running of the Independent on Saturday, Drill All Stakes. We've seen the 2 Guineas, a lot more races to come before the final field for the Vodacom Durban July selected. But your early fancy?
Early fancy, also him. I think Sean Terry's got a good horse there. I think he came right in the Derby. What worries me a little is that the horses behind him, I don't know if they didn't stay or that form might not pan out. But I think he's the right horse coming into hand at the right time.
Well, there you have it from Andrew Harrison. His early fancy is in fact one of the joint favourites at this very early stage for the 2017 Vodacom Durban July. He's inclined to roan with Al Siham. The horse had finished second to Pagoda. I had a little nibble at 150 to 1 when they first priced up before he ran second in the Derby. That's now 14 to 1. But that was more a spec bet than one out of conviction. So there you go. We trust you've enjoyed this segment of The Winning Ways, and indeed the entire Winning Ways show this week. On behalf of Paul Lafferty, James Goodman, Andrew Harrison and myself, we bid you good night.
Your world of winners is now online at www.teletrack.com. Simply subscribe to log into your account from any mobile device in South Africa and access a wide variety of content from our membership package options. Listen in via a live audio stream, catch live racing locally and internationally, or view a wide variety of Teletrack magazine shows to stay informed and updated on the go at any time. It's never been easier. Go to teletrack.com now.